Hey there, Erin Lee here of heavenlymessenger.com, bringing you this week's Connection with Intention. First of all, thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure for me to be able to connect with you in this way. And I'm truly grateful for the time that you've taken out of your day, especially since not only have we not been live with connection in with intention in several weeks, but also we're at a different time this week as well. So thank you for your patience in joining me this evening. There's been a lot that's been going on, but it's been really wonderful things. So, welcome. First of all, hellos are more than welcome. I love hearing from you. It's always great to see that you're on the show. We'll do a little talk first. We'll do the choose your own adventure crystal reading so that everybody has the opportunity to receive a reading, and then we'll go into the live mini readings. I'll put it up on the screen when your questions are welcome, so if you could hold on just a minute, that would be amazing. So first of all, I was sitting here asking myself, what do we talk about this evening? There's so much that has been going on, and for me and the people in my life right now, there's a lot of change. There's a lot of transformation, and it's not just little. It's big. Like big things are happening. Big changes are happening. And sometimes it can feel really overwhelming when we're in the middle of change, particularly if the change that you're experiencing is not necessarily what you would have chosen. I mean, sometimes it's one thing to say, "Hey, I'm ready for change. I'm going to make changes," but sometimes change is something that we don't have any control over, and we kind of have to find a way to go with it and to roll with it. And one of the questions that I've kind of been feeling and experiencing lately is, how do we do that? So whether you're going through change or not right now, and whether or not that change is something that you've chosen or something that has been brought into your life for whatever reason, there are some pretty significant things that we can do to help and support ourselves when we're going through change. I think it's really important to recognize that we don't have all of the resources that we usually have. So I don't know about you, but for me, balance has always been something that I've worked towards. And if I look back over my life, I would say looking for finding and creating balance has been one of the big themes, one of the big things. And I definitely crave a feeling of balance. And in talking to the people that I love and in talking to my clients who I also love, I know that I'm not alone in that. And when we're going through change, especially if it's big change, balance is one of those things that's really difficult to create and to maintain, because again, we don't have all of the resources that we usually have. And when I talk about resources, I talk about what I'm talking about rather is time, energy, the opportunity to do the things that we would usually do, that would hold us and balance us. And often when we're going through change, it's also occupying a lot of our mental space, a lot of our emotional space, whether it's something that we want and we're excited about or not, there's still a lot of emotion that comes up, and there's still a lot that we hold on to in in our heads and in our minds as we're going through all of these things that we're unaccustomed to. So when it comes to going through change, whatever it is, I think one of the most important things is to cut yourself some slack. Look for the places in your life where you can create space for yourself. So maybe you are somebody who always religiously goes for like a 5K run every day. And although it's something that's really important to you, maybe one of the things that you do to create a bit of space for yourself is maybe you say, "Hey, today I'm going to go for 3K because one, that's what I have the energy for. And two, that's what I have the time for in this moment. So I'm getting in something that's still good for me. It helps to maintain some of that balance, but I'm also honoring the fact that I might not have all of the resources that I usually have to support that." I know that there are a lot of, I was going to say Wonder Womans, but or Wonder Women, um, but I'm going to say Wonder People because, I mean, whether you're man, woman, or something, or someone in between, or no gendered at all, we often take on a lot more than we realize. I know when I look back over this last week or so, I significantly underestimated the amount of time that I had and the amount of time that all of the things that I wanted to do was going to, that I was going to need to accomplish those things. So I think one of the biggest things, if you find yourself also in a place where you're experiencing change, to know that's okay to cut yourself some slack, to get back to basics. What are the things that support you in maintaining yourself, your health, and your well being? And for me, getting back to basics, it's all about sleep. It's about nutrition, like regular nutrition. So, eating regularly. Water is an important one. Social connection can be an important one, though that can also be one that throws things out of bounds too. Um, and creativity can be a really important one. And of course, connecting with God, source, universe, angels, whatever your belief system is. I know for me, that's a big one. It's not big for everybody. But looking at the things that are important to you in maintaining those basic balance things. So if you're also in a place where you're going through change right now, I know that I am thinking about you. You're in my heart, in my prayers, and I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Okay, and it's coming in. Read it here first. Listen to it here first. We're apparently also talking about the archangels who you can call upon as you're going through change. The first one who is popping up for me, and I'm kind of surprised because usually, Michael or Raphael, they're there waiting because they really like to help us. All of them do. But I've actually got Archangel Azrael coming up really strongly. And Archangel Azrael helps and supports us in dealing with grief. Archangel Azrael in the past has been known as the angel of death because he helps souls to transition to the other side. And he also helps and supports those of us who are still here going through the grieving process. So, certainly Archangel Azrael helps and supports us with all aspects of death, of crossing over and passing away, and grief. But he also helps us with the grief that we have and that we experience here as well. And again, whether the change is something that you've chosen, that you're excited about, that you're happy about, or it's change that is not what you would have chosen, grief is often part of that process. We are coming potentially into a place of ending, a place of transformation. And so what once was in this, as we go through this change, what may no longer be on the other side. There's an aspect of grief that goes with that. Grief is something that our culture and society does not do very well. We really don't. We kind of brush it under the table and then we soldier on. And so calling on Archangel Azrael can really help with that processing. And I believe as well that on the other side of that, on the other side of the change, working with Archangel Azrael going through the process can really put us in a good spot on the other side to move forward because we've already dealt with a lot of the emotion. Archangel Michael, of course, is popping up as well. Archangel Michael helps and supports us with being on our life path. So often when we're going through big change and big transformation, there's a lot that we're learning as we're going through it. We're potentially like moving from one place into another place in our lives. And that's big life path stuff. So call on Archangel Michael, ask him for help and support in helping you to clear obstacles in your way, to help make sure that you are on the path that is in your best and highest good. Archangel Raphael, again, from a healing point of view, he does really work with us with physical healing for sure, but he also comes through on an emotional level as well. So call on Archangel Raphael. And the last one who's really popping through is Archangel Ariel. And I've been talking a little more about her because she's become really present and relevant in my life and in my world too. So Archangel Ariel also helps and supports us in getting on our path, being on track, staying focused. She has the same kind of big energy that Archangel Michael has, but she's also incredibly sassy. She's like the girlfriend who always has your back. And, ladies, you may have friends like Archangel Ariel as well. You're like, oh yeah, if I were ever in like a bar fight, that's the friend who is going to be with me. So Archangel Ariel, she's going to help you really hold your ground and stand your ground. She helps and supports us in having the courage. And often, again, whether it's a change that you're choosing or whether it's one that you would not have chosen for yourself, we all need courage and strength. And Archangel Ariel has that in spades, and she is more than happy to help and support us through all of the changes and transformations that we're going through. All right. I realize that my talk this evening was a little bit longer than usual. So we're going to quickly segue over into the Choose Your Adventure crystal reading. And in a moment, I will go through, we'll say hello to everybody. So I did not have an opportunity to take pictures of the crystals. So I'm just going to hold them up and we're going to cross our fingers that you guys are able to see them clearly. So the first one that we have is actually a black moonstone. And I was so drawn to this. I should have mentioned, I've got a bit of a peanut gallery here this evening, and they actually helped me choose the crystals for tonight. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So tonight we have the black moonstone. Our next crystal is a combination of azurite and malachite. So that's the second crystal. And our third crystal is this very happy obsidian. So obsidian is our last crystal. So what I'm going to ask you to do, I'll hold them up for you again in a moment, is think about a question that you may have or an area in your life that you want to make sure that that you think about, that you cover, and as you breathe, choose one of the crystals to represent the card for you. So again, our first crystal, black moonstone. The second crystal is the malachite and azurite. And our third crystal is happy obsidian. All right. So as you are sitting with that, I'm going to quickly pull a card for each one. So our first card here is for moonstone. And our second card is for malachite. And our third card is for, oops, I didn't get the whole deck with that, is for our happy obsidian. So if you chose this evening, we had moonstone first. The card that we have here, this is Archangel Zadkiel, and his message is all about teaching and learning. Keep an open mind and then learn new ideas, then teach these ideas to others. So in this time and in this space, whatever question it is that you have been asking about, it's time to be learning. You are in a phase of learning. So whether that is learning from the experiences that you're going through or actively pursuing, like having a curiosity about something, now is the time to be expanding your horizons, to expand your knowledge and your awareness. One of the messages that keeps coming up for me, it's been a couple of years that I've been getting it, but the importance of coming into a place of depth with the knowledge and the awareness and the understandings that you already have. We tend to be very surface in our learning, and we're excited about something and interested in something, and so we learn a little bit about it, but we don't go into depth. And then we move on to the next thing because maybe that thing didn't work for us the way that we expected it to or wanted it to. So we're on to the next thing. So also see this as encouragement to explore a little more deeply into the things that you already know. Come into a point in a place where you're really fluent in them and understand them. One of the best ways to gauge your understanding of a topic and a subject is being able to teach and share that topic with somebody else. And that's part of what Archangel Zadkiel is saying. Learn and then teach and share others. So know that this is not only for you, but this is for others too. Now, this is really interesting. Our next card is the malachite and azurite crystal. And the message that we have here is wait. Now, malachite and azurite tends to be a pretty significant transformation card. It gets things going. It gets things moving. And so we're kind of, if you've ever learned to drive a standard, We're kind of bunny hopping here. We're learning that balance between the gas and the clutch, because what it's saying is, yeah, we've got transformation. There's a lot that's happening, but slow down. Don't be in a rush. Take your time. Don't rush into action right now. Bide your time for better results. That's the specific message that we have here on our card this evening. And usually this card comes up as a wait message because there's more information that's needed before you can truly jump in. So it's not that you're on the wrong track or you're not headed in the right direction. It's just that either more information is needed or you need to rest a bit before you go into the level of transformation that's coming up. So don't push yourself and don't force yourself right now. Continue to collect information, continue to do things, but don't really push. And the last card that we have is for people who chose Obsidian. And the message, the angel that we have is Caressa. Her message is, you are at the end of a cycle in your life. Call upon the angels to guide you, comfort you, or pardon me, call upon your angels to comfort you and to guide you to your next step. Happiness awaits you now. So again, a really, a really strong transformation message, and change, that things are shifting, and a lot of encouragement to slow down, to take care of yourself, to honor the fact that you are in a place and a state of change right now, and that you don't need to push and force, but to be slow, to be gentle, to be calm. And always, if there is anything that you're struggling with, you can call on your angels. You know, I've mentioned some angels' names, and if you remember them, great. If you have other archangels or specific angels that you want to call on, that's perfect. But please don't feel that you need to remember names. All that you have to do is say, angels, please help me. I am dealing with this. I'm struggling with this. Please help and support me. With whatever it is that you have coming up. It is one of the most powerful ways that you can connect and work with your angels. Know also that you aren't taking them away from helping anybody else. They're more than happy to help you and to support you. So please call on them. All right. I'm going to just pop through and say hello to everybody. If I will just take the banner off here. If you would like to ask a question, please do so now. And with your question, please ask a specific question. So there are a couple of things. We're not doing mediumship on the show, so that's connecting with deceased loved ones. I don't answer to, do you have any messages for me? Or please pull a card for me. I don't do those. The readings I do are primarily psychic, which is also why I ask for a specific question. So for example, romance is not enough, but if you say, Erin, what do I need to know about the relationship I'm currently in right now? Or what do I need to know about bringing a new partner into my life? Those are specific questions, and I'm able to answer them for you. So hello to Tanya. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure connecting with you. And Jenna, hello. Kathy, it's wonderful to see you too. Hello to Cassandra and Aunt and Erin. It's wonderful to see you. Thanks for joining us. Hello, Carrie and Phyllis. Michelle, thank you both so much for popping on this evening. JC and Marissa, it's always so great to see both of you. Thank you. Hello to Leanne and to Sarah. Oops, I've just gotten lost. A whole pile of comments just came in. Hello to Ba, and I think that's probably Louisa. Hello. And to Ward, it's wonderful to see you. Louisa, I think that you asked just before we got into the question, so if you would mind popping down, that'd be awesome. I like to give everybody an opportunity to ask their questions, and so ask people to wait until we're ready. Okay, so I've got Tracy here with our first question. Hi, Tracy. Thanks for joining us. Tracy saying, I've been single for quite some time. I'm ready for a partner now. Wondering if you could shed some light on whether this could be a possibility or whether I should accept and move on. I would rather know the truth to mentally prepare. Okay. Well, Tracy, I'm not seeing. Hold on. It does feel like you are in a place of being ready for partnership and relationship, but I'm really needing to clear the path, and so it's not so much that I'm not seeing somebody, but it's more that it feels like you're needing to have a bit of time on your own for your own. Now, as somebody who is also single, who has been single for a long time, I hesitate to give you that message because I know how much it frustrates me. Because I do see a partner coming into your life, but there's almost like there's something that needs to be cleared out. And so part of what I'm seeing is actually letting go of the expectation of partnership and relationship, because it's almost like almost as soon as that happens, you just like slam into somebody. So once you do that, I actually really want to encourage you to make sure that you're watching where you're going, because it literally feels like you are running into this person. So to kind of back up a little bit, there is somebody who's coming, but part of that person coming into your life is letting go of the expectation, because it feels like there's a lot of stuff that's still sitting there waiting. So there are so many ways in which you are ready for relationship, but there's almost like a slight guardedness that's coming up that feels like it's needing to be peeled away. And the process of saying, hey, you know what, if I'm on my own, that's okay. I'm just going to go about and live my life. Um, that that takes this down, because there's almost this sense of holding back from doing things or experiencing things because it's possibly something that you're wanting to do with a partner, or something that you're not wanting to do on your own. And I'm seeing you kinda doing those things because it feels like that's all part of the energy that brings in the partner that you're wanting. So I'm having a hard time seeing a timeline, because a lot of it feels like it's kind of up to what you're ready to do. But once you are really in that place when you're doing that, literally it feels like you walk right into them. Um, and just as you're going about living your life, doing your thing, but I'm seeing something that feels pretty adventurous. So I'm wanting to also encourage you to get outside of your comfort zone a little bit. And again, don't wait for the things that you want to do. Just start planning them and doing them yourself. And if in the process somebody else comes along, awesome. Take them along on the adventure, or just keep going and doing it yourself. You're in a really great place, but you're going to be in an even better place soon. Um, the next card, pardon me, the card that we have here, this is the Archangel Oracle card deck. And this is Archangel Azrael. So it's kind of cool because we've already spoken about him a little bit this evening. His message is counselor. You are a natural counselor, and many people benefit from your guidance and reassurance. So, this card comes up for people who are natural born counselors. Often, you are the type of person who random people will come and talk to you about, like, the things that are happening in their lives, and it's really deep and personal. What's coming through is that you are somebody who is really open to receiving. And I wonder also if this is part of what has been perhaps challenging your relationship in the past, because it feels like possibly you may have taken on other people's stuff, and tried to hold and to support them through the process that they were going through. And I'm seeing lifting them up and then they just kind of float off, or that they just kind of stick around and they just kind of suction onto you. So part of what's coming through with that is that might be part of this stuff that I have coming up here that's needing to be released. So allow yourself to go through a bit of a grief and grieving process. But that said, I hear that you're already there, you're already ready. So just see what comes up. Tracy, I'm so incredibly glad that you joined us this evening. Thank you so much for popping on. Sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. And the romance angels too. Ask them to come through and help and support you as well. Okay, so we've got JC here. Hi, JC. Thanks for joining us. And JC is saying that she chose obsidian. That's awesome. Sort of worried that my son is okay. Today, kept hearing someone call me. Angels, please help me. Okay, let's take a look and see what we've got coming up for your son, JC. Uh, yeah, he's going through some transformation. And he's in a place where he's making choice right now. I am seeing him being really connected and grounded to the earth. And it almost the energy and the feeling that comes up for me is almost of like a fever, Not that he is physically ill, but one of the functions of fever is to like burn illness off. That's part of how fever works, is my understanding. And that's kind of what I'm feeling for him, is it's almost like he is burning something off. So he's going through transformation. I do see him being held, being safe. He's not alone. But he's going through some choice right now. I am seeing him choosing to stay, to continue, but I'm seeing him on top of that choosing life, that he is grounding and he is connecting. Obsidian is such an incredibly powerful stone and crystal for you to have chosen. Obsidian is all about protection. It is about grounding, and it also has a very psychic, like it's a very strong psychic protection as well. So if there is the opportunity to connect in with your son or around him, and you do have some obsidian crystals, that can be a really powerful one to share. One of the beautiful things with obsidian is that it is um, quite easy to access, particularly here on Vancouver Island. I know that you're here as well, JC. And it's also very reasonable. Like it's not an incredibly expensive crystal to get some pieces. For me, that's something that's really important. I really like to use tools that are accessible. And so obsidian is a wonderful one. And it's great to help to ground and to help release anything that's no longer serving. So I see that as all being really positive. We're going to go to the mermaids and dolphins cards, and we're just going to ask what messages are coming up for JC's son, particularly with regards to his health and well-being. Oh, that's a big one. The card that we have here is the worthiness card. And the message is, know that you deserve to receive good in all ways. And this is something that many of us struggle with, and I suspect that that's something that your son is struggling with at this time as well. Um, Again, I see this as being an incredibly positive thing, because the transformation that he is going through is he is releasing the barriers. He is moving through them, and my goodness, he is powerful. So keep him in your heart, in your thoughts, in your prayers. I will also send lots of love and healing and support to him too. We'll ask the angels to go to be with him. They're already there, but the more that we ask, and his ancestors are holding him as well. There is a lot of space that is being held for him now, and there is a lot of purging and clearing that he is doing. And I keep hearing medicine. It feels like there is medicine that can be done on his behalf at home. So if you have access to any of those resources, now feels like a really great time to bring them in. But I do see him being safe, and I do see him being healthy, and I see him coming out um, in a place where he's feeling much better. JC, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support to you, to your son, and to all who love him. We'll see you soon. Awesome. Aunt, hi, Aunt. Thanks for joining us. Aunt says, I finally found a contractor and just jumped on the chance and not overthink it. Congratulations. I found I was over listening to a neighbor who has been super anxious and anti this and that. And perhaps that was feeding into my own choices or stalling me in my plans. How can I turn out the negative without feeling guilt, where I've put myself last and in building our goals? We've tried to make sure we are doing things right. We've stalled for others to finish things, and make sure to do things right. Okay, so I think I have the gist of what you're asking, because it looks like your comment was possibly partially cut off. So, Aunt, when I tap into the situation, first of all, the big thing that comes up for me is like this feeling of guilt, or like, how do I move past the choices that I've made, or the interference that I have allowed to influence my choices, or our choices and decisions, and to be able to move forward. Um, and what I get is a couple of things. One, um, all of the all of the things that you have gone through have led you to this point. And it's not wrong, because this is where you are. And so to say, hey, maybe I've made mistakes in the past, and I haven't trusted myself. I've given over my power and my control to somebody else. But now in this moment, I'm aware of what I've done. And isn't that a really great learning opportunity? For many of us, how long has it taken us to come to that point and that realization? But now you're here, now you have it. That's something to celebrate. Like, that's something to be really excited about. Now you know, and you have the clarity and the awareness to say, hey, this was something that was a mistake for me, or this was something that I am regretting having done. But now you know all of the things that led up to that, and now that you're aware of it, isn't that amazing? Because now you're in a better place for it to not happen again. There's nothing we can do to go back and to change the past. But what we can do is we can let go of the guilt about the choices that we made in the past. We don't always know the best choice or the right choice where we are, but we do have the opportunity to learn and grow from the choices that were maybe not the ideal choices. Sometimes they were the best choice for us in the time and in the moment, but we have the opportunity starting right now to move forward. And that is the part that I would most focus on. And so, yes, maybe there was stalling, and yes, maybe there were challenges and there were difficulties, but today is a new day, and you can take really positive steps moving forward. And I see that as being something to be really excited about. I see this as having been a really wonderful learning process and experience. And, sometimes there can be frustration because sometimes our choices that were maybe not in the best and highest good for us were also not in the best and highest good for other people. And so sometimes, there are things that come about from those choices, and we need to figure out a way forward. But one of the biggest things is being able to let go of the guilt. Guilt doesn't serve anybody. You're not able to go back and to change that. So there's no point in holding on to it. Allow yourself to say, hey, this is my fresh start. Maya Angelou, I love what she says. Do the best that you can until you know better. When you know better, you do better. And I think that's really important, because that is something that allows us to offer ourselves compassion. None of us are perfect, and we are all doing the best that we can with the resources that we have, and that's it. Sometimes we have more resources than at other times, like when we're going through change, as we talked about earlier. But we all just do the best that we can, and that's all that you can expect of yourself. As long as you're doing the best that you can in the moment that you're in, great. And when you learn something else about yourself and you start doing better, even better. But that's all you can ask for. And let's take a look and see what messages are coming up for you. We're going to the archangels. I don't have a specific question that I'm asking because I don't know that there was one outside of that. Oh, awesome. We've got Archangel Ariel coming up. So we also talked about her too. But her message here is prosperity. Your material needs are provided as you follow your intuition and manifest your dreams into reality. I see that as being a really positive thing. One of the things that you're asking about is around things that are materially based, like contractors. I'm assuming that there's some sort of building that is happening that you're going through. This is a wonderful card. It says, hey, everything that you need on a material level to build and to create what you're working on is here, and there's prosperity that comes from it. Prosperity is and abundance, they can be like material things. It can be money and finances, but it can also be peace of mind. It can be calm, it can be health, it can be happiness, it can be love. So there's so many things that we can be abundant in. And also, Archangel Ariel helps and supports us in standing our ground. So I would say part of the learning and the transformation that you're going through right now is learning not only what you want and need without interference of others, but then also being able to stand your ground too. You're in an incredibly empowering place, and Archangel Ariel is here helping and supporting you with that too. So call on her, ask her for help as you are learning to walk in this new knowledge and this new understanding that you have. And it's always such a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support to you. And I know that things are going to just keep improving. And I hope you'll come back and let us know how it's going. Awesome. Carrie, hi, Carrie. Thanks for joining us. Carrie saying, "I recently broke up with my long-term partner. I'm very sorry to hear that, but also, very quickly met a new potential romantic interest." Well, that's congratulations. And just wondering if there are any messages coming through for me with regards to this new connection. And his name is Sahil, but it goes by Sal. Okay, I can definitely connect with Sal. Let's take a look and see what we have. Okay, so the first message that's coming through for me is it feels like there is something that is I'm wanting to create space between you and the partner that you have ended things with, because although I feel that there is space there's something more that's needing to be addressed, that's needing to be dealt with, that's going to give you more space. So just kind of taking a look at that as you are moving into this new relationship potentially. When I ask about Sal, everything feels really open. Things are feeling really good. I'm wanting to encourage you to take your time, because it is feeling really good. But what I'm seeing is things that are on the surface, and I'm not seeing a lot of depth. Not necessarily because it isn't there, but because there is a need to take things slowly. Potentially, that's because of where you are, having come out of a previous relationship recently. But yeah, I'm wanting to take my time exploring, and I'm wanting to kind of keep options open as well. When I connect with Sal, this could be something that becomes more serious, more connected, more committed, but it's also going to take a bit of time. And I'm not wanting to commit into anything too quickly yet, um, because there's something I can't quite put my finger on it. So I don't know exactly what it is that has me saying take a little bit of time, but take some time, get to know each other. Know that you don't need to rush, because any relationship that you need to rush into, that's a little bit of a red flag. So take your time, enjoy getting to know each other, enjoy building chemistry together, enjoy learning about each other. Um, it's really interesting because one of the things that I've witnessed in connecting with people is that we're very much living in a culture where it's like almost like fast food romance and relationships. And relationships that are really worthwhile are also really worth being like fine dining relationships too. So take your time, have several courses before you get to the bill at the end of the evening. Really enjoy yourself. And that's the message that I have for you about the relationship, with Sal. Not that it's necessarily bad, but just to take your time in getting to know each other and really exploring, because both of you are worth that. Okay, let's take a look and see what messages are coming up for you, Carrie. So we've got Archangel Michael here. And this is really interesting. So the deck that I've pulled this from, this is the messages from your angels. And so there are only 4 cards out of the 44 cards that are Archangel cards. So to me, that's significant. This card is all about life purpose. I am with you, giving you the courage to make life changes that will help you work on your divine life purpose. Okay, so that's what it is. Part of what's coming up is actually something that you're needing to focus on, and to make sure that you have enough time for your own life path and life purpose. So making sure that you're maintaining boundaries around the aspects in life that are important to you, and to not give too much of that away just yet. But also make sure that you're taking your time. Archangel Michael can also come through at this point because he is helping you and leading you into relationship and connection. So I can't say no, but I'm also not able to completely say yes just yet. So take your time, get to know each other, and allow yourself to really fall in love too. Carrie, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love, support, and romance angels your way. All right, Cassandra. Hi, Cassandra. It's always so great to see you. Thanks for joining me. Um, Cassandra says, I have had amethyst come up in my life. Awesome. Amethyst is such a beautiful and amazing crystal. Not that I'm particularly drawn to it, but amethyst seems to be drawn to me. I had 3 pieces given to me randomly by different people in this past year. Also, my husband's birthstone is amethyst. Is there a reason that amethyst would be drawn to me, and a message I should be getting, or something that the universe is trying to tell me? So when we talk about amethyst first of all is connected to our third eye and to our crown chakra. It has to do with opening our connection to God's source universe, to intuition, to psychic ability. So I would say that a big reason that this is coming through is to make sure that you're focusing on connecting with your spirituality. Amethyst also is really interesting because it has some protective qualities to it as well. So even though it is working with our upper chakras, it does have this protection. And just kind of a really interesting little tidbit as well. Amethyst is also a detoxification stone. In the past, many centuries ago, amethyst was often used by people after a night of drinking because it was believed at the time to help to detoxify or to unintoxicate to sober one up. And so also what that does is it really helps us to move through and to transition through the experiences that we're going through. So what I would say is that this is really encouragement to help and get you onto paths so that you're heading in a positive direction. Hold on, I'll pull a crystal for you. And I'm just going to say over there, wait just a second, because I think I'm coming to you next. Okay, so let's see. We're asking for Cassandra. We're going to go to the archangels because we love working with the archangels. So funny. So I did shuffle the cards, but this is Archangel Ariel and Prosperity. We literally just had this card. Archangel Ariel, for me, with you, is talking about standing your ground, because there is a lot of transformation that's going on, and there is a lot of trusting your own intuition. So I would see these amethyst crystals as being really strong intuition crystals for you, and Archangel Ariel here is coming to help and support you with that. Also, I'm kind of wondering, I want to encourage you to take a look and see with amethyst if there are any prosperity messages that come up with it, because I can see that also being part of it. Your material needs are provided as you follow your intuition and manifest your dreams into reality. So if you are doing any sort of crystal grids or manifestation, be sure to incorporate the amethyst into them. Cassandra, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me. Sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Okay, we've got Erin here. Hi, Erin. Thanks for joining us. Erin's asking, how long is my recovery going to be? Okay, so first of all, there's a bunch of gunk that we're getting out, and so when I feel into it, I'm holding it like on my chest, in my heart, and it's like. "Whoa." I've got a lot that's coming up in my throat as well. Like we're getting stuff out. But I keep hearing 6 months, that there's a process that you're going to go through. Not that the whole time is going to be intense, but what I'm kind of seeing is like from this moment and to 6 months from now, you're just going to kind of look back and it's like, wow, that was unexpected. It was really powerful. And actually, it almost reminds me of um, playing pin the tail on the donkey as a kid. You put the eye mask bandana thing around your eyes so you can't see, and then somebody turns you and they turn you the other way, and then they turn you, and then they say they point you in the direction towards the donkey, and you need to go and put the thing on it. That's kind of what it feels like when we look back 6 months from now. It's like, wow, that was a lot, but I'm here and things are feeling grounded, they're feeling balanced. And I feel like we're able to clear what is ahead of you, what is in front of you, what you, and you're really able to reprioritize the things that are most important to you. So there's a lot that's coming up with it. There are going to be ups and downs, but on the other side of it, it feels like you're in a good place. We're going to go to the archangels and we're just going to ask what messages Erin needs through the recovery process that she's going through. Not only what she needs, but also who is with her. I'm hearing that being the other thing too. I love this. So the card that we have is overcoming difficulties. And this card is Archangel Jeremiel. His message is the worst is now behind you, and you are surmounting any previous challenges. When this card comes up, it says that things have been difficult. Things have been really challenging. There's a lot that's been going on, but that you're overcoming it. So, not necessarily that things aren't going to continue to be challenging, but you've gone through the worst of it. And part of what I'm hearing and part of what I'm seeing is like mindset. Like there's been like a click, like click click. We're like, oh, okay, now we've got the tools and the resources that we need. We're gonna overcome this, and then I've got some choice words that are coming up that I don't think that I can say on my PG-13 show, but but you've got it. So keep going. Call on Archangel Jeremiah. Jeremiah also really helps and supports us in prioritizing. One of the themes that we had with change coming up earlier is that we're not necessarily always able to do all of the things that we usually do. And Archangel Jeremiah can help and support you in focusing on the things that you need to do, as well as focusing on the things that you need to do for yourself to overcome the challenges that you're dealing with. Erin, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way, and Archangel Raphael to help you get rid of the gunk. Awesome. All right, we've got Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for joining us. Kathy's asking, do you see my husband and I going on a trip? Yes. Yes, I do. But I'm also I'm reminded of the joke, um, have a nice trip, see you next fall. So I do want to encourage both of you to be very careful when you're walking, when you're doing things, and asking for help when you need, because it feels like it's really easy to do bigger and more things, so make sure that you're not taking on more than you can handle. But in terms of, I'm assuming that when you ask about trip, you're talking about a vacation. And yes, I do see you going on vacation. The fall is coming up really strongly for me. Not necessarily that there isn't going to be like travel or trip or vacation that happens before then, but this is feeling more significant. This feels like this is really vacation. It's relaxing. It's something that you're exploring. And it feels really good. So yeah, I do see trip, and the month actually in particular that I'm seeing is October. Fall in any time, great. But October in particular is feeling good. And I'm also seeing the two of you really enjoying yourselves. And I'm flip-flopping with this because on the one hand, I definitely see the two of you there. I'm also seeing that there's the possibility of family or loved ones around as well. So I don't know if this is a family trip or a trip that you are doing with other couples, but it feels like it's really special. It's really meaningful, and I'm seeing you both really enjoying yourselves. It feels like it's an opportunity that really uplifts both of you. Pardon me, and it also feels like it's something that you needed too. Let's take a look. So, what did the angels have to say about trip and vacation for Kathy and her husband? The card that we have here is Archangel Sandalphon, and his message is gentleness. I'm going to talk about two aspects with Archangel Sandalphon. So, the first one is the card and the message that we have here. Be very gentle with yourself at this time. Surround yourself with gentle people, situations, and environments. Now is not the time to push and force, but just take it easy. Again, I go back to the message at the very beginning, about making sure that you're asking for help and support when you need it. And I'm also hearing, don't be too proud to ask. It is important to accept help when we need it, and it's totally okay. The other thing, Archangel Sandalphon lifts our prayers up to God, Source, Universe, and when he comes through, part of him is bringing reassurance that our prayers are being heard and that they're being answered as well. So if you have any concerns about not being able to go on your trip, make sure that you're calling on Archangel Sandalphon and asking him to make sure that you are being heard. I'm seeing that you are, but call on him when you lift prayers up to God, Source, Universe, whatever your belief system is, whoever you like to work with. Make sure that you call on Archangel Sandalphon and ask him to be there to amplify the messages that you have. Kathy, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Awesome. Patricia. Hi, Patricia. It's great to see you. It's been a while. Patricia's saying, I misplaced my Jetta's ownership again and can't find it anywhere. Okay. All right. So I'm assuming, first of all, Jetta would be a vehicle is what I'm going with. And I'm assuming that you mean the ownership papers for them. Pardon me. And it's really interesting because I'm actually seeing a filing case that my grandmother used to have that she passed down to my mom, and it's kind of like one of those old filing cases. Now they have like the accordion ones, and they've got the little twist-do that comes down on it. But this is the one that I'm seeing anyway. Is metal. It's very, very sturdy. It's pretty old. So the sense that I have is that it feels like it's in a place where it would make a lot of sense for it to be, but it's not necessarily the place that you thought that you left it. And it reminds me of all of the times that I get myself really organized and I put things in places where I just don't remember, even though when I was organizing, it made a lot of sense when I was doing it. So yeah, I am seeing it being tucked into some sort of filing system of some sort. And I'm pardon me, wanting to encourage you, excuse me, to go into um to go into your home office, wherever you keep papers. These feel like they are really important papers, and I could see things like passports or birth certificates or insurance policies, life insurance, like those types of things. Those are the types of documents that I'm seeing coming up with this. And the other thing that's coming through is that it might also be stuck. So, whatever filing system you may have, I'm wanting to encourage you to pull everything out of it and making sure that it's completely clean and clear before you say it's not here, because it feels like it's kind of stuck. I'm also wanting to encourage you to go through all of the sheets in all of the files just to make extra sure, because it feels like it's in there. It's a really logical place, but also not quite logical too. Patricia, let's see what messages are coming up for you. Let's ask for some guidance. Oh, the other thing that I'm hearing is asking the angels to help you and to show you exactly where it is. One of the things that's coming through, I'm not actually seeing them being in your vehicle, but I am seeing them being in your home space. So one of the things that you can do is you could create like a little diagram or a layout of your home, and just go through with your finger on each room and say, is it in this room? Yes or no. Is it in this room? Yes or no? Yes or no. And then once you get the room that it's coming up in, you can also fine tune it by splitting that room into quadrants and then even smaller and even smaller. I am seeing that being something that you could do with a pendulum if you're familiar with pendulums. The card that we have here is chakra clearing. This is Archangel Metatron. His messages: call upon me to clear and open your chakras using sacred geometric shapes. Patricia, I know that you do a lot of like energy work and healing and intuitive work as well. So what that's saying to me is that things might not be completely clear right now. So make sure that you're taking time to focus on yourself. Remember that you will definitely find the papers. So allow that, like any sort of concern that comes up around that, let that go, because all that does is kind of muddy and clouds things, right? So do some energy clearing for yourself. Take a salt bath, do a forest walk, whatever it is that you do that works for you. Clear yourself. Call on Archangel Metatron. Ask him to help with the clearing process too, and you're going to see it. It's going to come up right away. I have no doubt. Patricia, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way, and lots of finding angels too. Interesting. So one of the things that I don't do it so much now because I just now really get great parking spots just because it just happens now. But when I first started doing this work and started really working with angels, I would ask angels to help me find the best parking spot possible. Really quickly, I won't spend too much time on this story, but it was Boxing Day, so December 26th is kind of our equivalent to Black Friday sales. That's when in Canada we have the really big sales. And my brother and I drove down to Nanaimo, which is a much larger city center than the one that I live in. And we were going to the big mall that was there. So it's one of the busiest shopping day in Canada. And we're going to a community outside of our own that's much, much bigger than ours. And and I said, "Angels, please help us find the perfect parking spot." And my brother, he's an engineer. We'll forgive him. He's like, "Oh no, Erin, we're not gonna get a good parking spot. Like, come on." I'm like, "No, we're gonna find the perfect parking spot." And I said, "Let's just drive up right in front of the store that we were going to." Sure enough, as we are driving up, a car was pulling out literally 3 spots from the front door. And so we got the perfect parking spot because we asked for help. Angels, please help me find X, Y, and Z. It works for parking spots, and I'm positive it's going to work for ownership papers too. Okay, we've got Leanne here. Hi, Leanne. Thanks for joining us. Leanne's asking, will my new relationship work out? Um, yeah, you guys have an interesting roller coaster that's popping up at about the 8-month mark. I don't think it's 8 months from now. I think that it's 8 months from the beginning of the relationship. And I mean, traditionally things do start kind of cropping up at around the 6-month mark because that's when we let down our defenses and we're able to really be who we are and they're able to really be who they are. So, like it's not surprising for something to come up at about that point. But basically, what I'm seeing is it feels like it's throwing you for a bit of a loop. But I see that as actually being a really positive thing because it's going to show you how the two of you work together. And it feels, I am seeing on the other side of it that the two of you do figure it out. So don't ignore the little flags that come up for you. Make sure you talk about it because those are opportunities to either say, hey, this is really not going to work for me, or let's talk about this and see where we come to and see if we can work things out. So I'm seeing a lot of opportunity and potential in the relationship that you're in. But it does feel like you've got one of those kind of make or break experiences. And I'm excited about it because it feels like you guys are working through it and that you're going to figure out how you best work with each other. I am seeing that there's something that hasn't quite come to the surface yet. But at this point in your relationship, that kind of makes sense. Like it takes time for us to trust people and to open up. I see there has been a lot of sharing. Feels like you guys are really working on communication. I see that you have some common communication types, but also you guys definitely communicate differently, which feels like that's a little bit of a challenge. But I see this as being, again, part of that learning process and the growing process and kind of the figuring out what's happening, what's going on. So, yeah, I've got a lot of hope for the relationship that you're in, and I'm excited about it for you. Let's see what's coming up with the archangels. We're just going to ask, what does Leanne need to know about the relationship she's in right now? Let me see. Compassion. So the card that we have coming up here is Archangel Zadkiel, and his message is compassion. He says, soften your heart with respect to the situation and all the people involved, including yourself. And so that card makes me wonder if there is a bit of healing that you might be going through. One of the things that's really interesting about relationships, and particularly when people have been single for a good amount of time, um, is we do a lot of work coming out of relationships. We do a lot of healing because we're awesome and because we want to do the best that we can. We want to be the best that we can. We don't want to be in pain anymore. And we want to have a happy, healthy, well functioning relationship. So we do lots of work and we're in a place where we're great on our own. But then being in a new relationship starts to trigger some of the things that we can't heal when we're on our own because they're not currently being triggered. I think for myself now as somebody who is single, I can do basically anything that I want whenever I want. I don't need to ask anybody's permission or take into consideration anybody else's needs. I mean, there are a lot of things. It's a pretty free life. But being in partnership and relationship, suddenly we have to take those things into consideration where we're dealing with other people's stuff. We're in really close space with other people. There's a lot of stuff that comes up. And I suspect that that's also part of what's happening here. So be gentle with yourself, offer compassion where you can, for your partner and what they might be going through. Um, yeah, but it does feel like there is the potential for this. And the things that I'm seeing is that any of the little challenges that you come up against over the next little while, particularly at about the 8-month mark, and know that these are going to be the things that really show you that, yeah, you can continue in relationship with each other. Leanne, it was a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Awesome. We've got Sarah here. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for joining me. Um, let me see. Sarah's asking, I'm wondering if I'm on the right path currently involving re-education. Okay, let's take a look at re-education. Okay, so I have a little bit of a bias here. For me, my belief is that any education is something that's really amazing and powerful. So I love it when people talk to me about new education because it's pointing them in a new direction. So I'm just going to be really clear that I do have a little bit of bias with that, but I want to make sure that I'm getting the right answer and the right message for you. So I'm going to ask, what do we have? Is this in Sarah's best and highest good to be re-educating? And I get a great big yes. Now, what I'm wanting to ask is what she is currently doing in her best and highest good? And I'm getting a really big yes too. And just this is kind of interesting to me. The way the yeses are appearing to me and why I'm moving my hand like this is because they keep coming to me in rainbows. So what I'm going to say for you, Sarah, is rainbows feel like they are part of a confirmation message for you. So if you're asking about being on the right track or being on the right path or making the right decision, and if you start seeing rainbows, please know that this is confirmation for you that you are on the right track. These are really big yeses for you. Yes, you're in touch. Yes, you're in tune. Yes, you're receiving the message. Yes, your intuition is right. It's on point. So you are heading in the right direction. And yeah, what you've chosen to re-educate in is feeling like it's really positive. I'm seeing you. It's almost like the courses or the classes that you're taking right now, it feels like it's something that could split into at least two different directions. And I'm seeing you at this point in the journey saying, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go in this direction. But I'm actually seeing you going slightly in the other direction as well. It reminds me a little bit of when I was when I was going into a business program, and my intention was to go on with accounting and to become an accountant. That was my plan. And I realized that probably there was a point where if I had continued with it, that I probably would have actually gone into marketing instead. So that's the type of thing that I'm seeing. That particular program broke off into marketing. It broke off into general management, and it also broke off into accounting. And my plan was to go with accounting, but I wouldn't be surprised if I actually would have gone somewhere else. And so that's the type of thing that I'm seeing coming up for you, is that you could go in a couple of different directions. And right now you're on one path, but I'm seeing you making a segue over to the other. But the path that you're on right now is taking you to that point, and that's all you need to focus on. Let's take a look. We're going to ask what messages are coming up for Sarah around education right now. Okay. I love this. You guys, all of the cards that have come up tonight have been really on point, and that always excites me. The card that we have here is You Are Safe. This is Archangel Michael. I am protecting you against lower energies and guarding you, your loved ones, and your home. I mean, those messages are definitely relevant, but Archangel Michael also helps and supports us with being on the right, on our making the best choices for us on our life path, and making sure that we're focusing on life purpose and the things that are important. So this card coming up with Archangel Michael saying, like, you're safe, you're protected, is pardon me, says two things to me. One, you are on the right track and you are on the right path. So keep going. But also that the choices that you're making right now, even if you kind of fudge it a little bit, it's still okay. It's kind of like Bob Ross and his happy trees. You make a little mistake, no problem. It just becomes a bigger tree, or no problem. It just becomes a bit of cloud. That's where I'm seeing you being right now. Like, you're safe. It's good. Even if it's a little slip up, it doesn't matter. It's still going to work out. So Sarah, you're on the right track, and I'm really excited about that for you. I'm so glad that you joined us this evening. Thank you so much. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way, and Archangel Michael too. Awesome. Okay, Crystal, that's kind of a tricky question. It's a little open-ended, but let me just see what we have coming up. So Crystal's asking about about her oldest son. Um, pardon me. Yeah, I've got a lot that's coming up with his heart. I've got a lot that's coming up with his throat. To me, that says that there's a lot that's happening on a heart level. Like, there's pain. Um, I don't think that this is physical pain. This feels to me like this is emotional, and that there's a lot that he is working through. He's thinking about. He's processing. Um, but he's also having a difficult time expressing it too, and it feels like he's having a difficult time getting it out. I'm not exactly sure how old your son is, because he's coming through at a lot of different ages. So my apologies if the message that I have is not quite age appropriate, but I hope that you can use it to extrapolate what would be the best for him. But in this moment, he's coming through more in kind of teenagey, angsty kind of energy, and I've got a lot of emotion that's coming up, and the emotion that's coming through is feeling really frustrated and angry, and I'm not exactly sure how to be really clear about what it is that I'm feeling and what I'm wanting to say and how to get it out. Like, I'm feeling lots of frustration, and really being able to vocalize that feels like it's challenging, but he's needing to get it out because there's a lot of hurt that's underneath all of that, that's pushing those challenging emotions up to the surface. And so if there is opportunity to put him into like a program where he can get out the frustrated emotion in a healthy way, so likely something that is a physical activity of some sort, that tends to be a really great way to decrease those really big challenging emotions, especially for young men, so that he is able to get to the stuff that's underneath. And talking feels like that might be a bit of a difficult one for him as well. So I'm wanting to find other ways for him to express himself. Some people really gravitate towards art. I'm noticing the garden behind me. Being outside feels like that could be really helpful for him too. Possibly getting involved with landscaping and dirt. That's a really wonderful way to like rebalance the body as well. But there's a lot that's coming up on his chest that he's needing to get out. Let me just take a look. What messages are coming up for Crystal that she needs to know for her oldest son? I'm hearing patience too, to just have patience. And actually, it's really interesting that that message came through clairaudiently, which is one of the four primary ways that we receive intuitive messages and information. It means literally clear hearing. And so clairaudience is the card and the message that's come up. This is Archangel Zadkiel again. Notice the loving guidance you hear inside your mind or from other people. So I wouldn't be surprised if your son is also highly intuitive, possibly psychic as well. And it's really important for him to be aware of what he's listening to, because this is one of his main pathways. And he is feeding himself and feeding his soul with the things that he is listening to. So making sure that, the music that he listens to is more positive and upbeat, and that, for television shows and programs, if he watches that the people speak well to each other. And yeah, there's a lot that's coming up on a hearing level. So paying attention to that. And if you notice the way that he is speaking to himself is derogatory, or he's pulling himself down, if you can, try and lift him up and show him the things that are different. Crystal, it was such a pleasure connecting with you this evening. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support to you and to your son as well. All right, we've got another question here. We've got Jenna here. Hi, Jenna. Thanks for joining us. Jenna said, "My hubby and I are getting ready to start our family." Oh, yay! Okay. And Jenna's asking any indication from the angels how soon we'll be able to get pregnant. So, so I'm hearing the words hop on it, which says to me that that's coming up pretty quickly. But at the same time, I'm also wanting to encourage you to take things slowly too, because it feels like there are things that you're sorting out, that you're getting ready, and that like hopping on it is maybe not in your best interest. Though there's certainly nothing wrong with practicing if you chose. I do have October, November, December coming up as being a really significant time. It also feels like that's like time and opportunity in between for you to sort out anything that needs to be sorted out, to settle into routine, to settle into a place of balance. It feels like there are like we're coming into a point in place where we're figuring it out. um, I do have the energy. I do have little energies that are coming up. One of them is certainly getting impatient. So do know that they are getting ready to come in and getting ready to come in pretty quickly. So if there are things that are unsettled that aren't quite as you would want them to be, make sure you're putting your energy and your focus into those things. Archangel Jeremiel is popping up really strongly with that as well, saying that he will help and support you to make changes and adjustments and will help you to prioritize the things that you need to focus on as well. But kind of is, I feel like almost as soon as you're ready to get started, like little babies, they're waiting to join you. And actually, we're going to go to the messages from your Angels Oracle card deck for this question. And we're just going to ask what messages are coming up for Jenna and her hubby in terms of starting their family. Oh, okay. So the other thing that I'm hearing is that you guys already are a family. So I'm wanting to rephrase the idea of like starting family. Oh, and yes, um, eh, I'm wanting to say like adding to or expanding on your family. It feels like it's really important to really settle that in. This is really interesting. So the card that we have coming up is the Vanessa card, and her message is to make your decision, ask yourself which way brings me closer to my divine purpose and which way takes me away from it. So as you're focusing on your priorities over the next little while, ask what is taking me closer to, what we're wanting to create in that long-term goal and what is taking us farther away from it. And it feels like there are some choices that you have coming up that might test what you're wanting to do and what you're wanting to create. So make sure that you're keeping your joint priorities in mind as you make those choices. Jenna, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support to you and to your hubby and to at least one or two of the new little ones who are going to be coming in. Awesome. Oh, and Louisa, I'm so glad that you hopped on and I'm so glad that we got to you. Louisa's asking, what do I need to know about the dynamic with a particular family member? What is their intention? Okay, let's take a look and see what we have for you, Louisa. Um, I've got a lot of confusion coming up actually, and it feels like that's part of the behavior that you're experiencing with this person as well. Because there isn't like they're not completely transparent in terms of what they're wanting to do, or like what their intentions are, but behavior is also feeling erratic is the word that I want to use. It's feeling a bit erratic as well. It's kind of like one minute you're like, yeah, we're on the same page, this is feeling really good, and then the next minute is like, whoa, where did that come from? And it feels like it's really difficult to trust their intentions and where they're coming from as a result of that. Um, but I'm seeing that also coming from challenge that they're going through and experiencing as well. The difficulty with it is it feels like they are um, resistant to help or resistant to change or Perhaps the other way to put it is that they don't really see the world in the same way. They haven't really had the same experiences. It kind of reminds me of being a person who is a fairly aware person, so focuses on like health and well-being and doing the best that they can, and then having somebody that you love who doesn't really share those same values. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually part of the bigger struggle, is that you come from really different places, potentially different experiences, potentially different generations. That part feels fuzzy, but it feels like you're coming from different places. And so you have different priorities in terms of the things that are important to you and what you're putting your energy and your focus into. So it there are a lot of aspects. The dynamic feels like it's more complicated than is apparent on the surface. The sense that I have is that it's really important to understand who the person is. And so I think for myself, I have people in my family who I love very much, who we definitely see the world in different ways because we've had different experiences in our lives. The world has shaped us in different ways. It makes a lot of sense. But because I have that understanding of, how that person came to be how they are today, there's the opportunity for awareness and compassion to an extent, so that their behavior makes a little more sense. Because that's the challenge that I suspect is coming up, is that the behavior isn't always making sense with what is perhaps being said. So the more that you can look to understand why the person is the way that they are, the easier it is to roll with the dynamic, and where the unexpected becomes more expected, which means that it's easier to interact with them. I hope that I've clarified that. I'm just going back to your question. What do I need to know about the dynamic with a particular family member, and what is their intention? I'm feeling the need to be suspicious of their intention at the moment, only because everything is feeling erratic. It's feeling really jumbled, and it feels like it's difficult to really tie into saying, hey, like, this is the way things are and the way it's functioning, and that's just the as it is. I'm really wanting to make sure that you are stepping back and understanding where they're coming from. Let's take a look and see what message is coming up for you. Let me see. So, Louisa, what does Louisa need to know about the dynamic she's in? This chakra clearing card. So the message that we have here is Archangel Metatron. Call upon me to clear and open your chakras using sacred geometric shapes. So when this card comes up, it says that it's time to be doing clearing and releasing for yourself, that things are really jumbled. So the more clear that you become, the easier it's going to be to focus on and to deal with what's happening with this other family member. Louisa, I'm so incredibly glad that we were able to connect this evening and that you were able to comment again. It was a pleasure. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support to you and to the relationship that you're going through and experiencing with this family member. I wish the best and highest good for everybody involved. We have come to the end of tonight's Connection with Intention. I'm so incredibly grateful for each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy day to be here with me this evening. I'm Erin Lee of heavenlymessenger.com. My schedule is really booking up for the next couple of weeks. So if you're thinking you'd like to connect for an appointment, pop onto my booking website, bookingwitherin.com, sooner rather than later, to make sure that we can connect as soon as you need. And this Sunday, Bobby and I will be back with Universal Connections Oracle Chats. I believe that we're going to have a really super amazing special guest. I don't think we've been able to confirm with them just yet, so that's the only reason that we haven't talked about it. But our intention is to start bringing on other really interesting people to look at other aspects of spirituality, new understandings, and to help to bring resources to you to answer your questions. So please join us. It'll be 3:30 p.m. Pacific on Sunday, which is 6:30 p.m. Looking forward to connecting with you then. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way, and looking forward to seeing you on Sunday and then again on Tuesday. Take care.